So I was saying they certainly have been witnessed since we started the nuclear era. And I would imagine that they would have an interest in the United States, particularly, although no more interest than anybody else, but only because we're the only country that's ever dropped a bomb with nuclear capacity on another nation. We did that to Japan at the end of World War II. And I am not a conspiracy theorist about these things. I think it's perfectly legitimate for a government to dismiss, cover up, spread misinformation in order to protect the sanctity and the sanity of their citizens. But I would say that we as people, we're probably fairly aware that this is going on. And there could maybe perhaps be a little bit more of a candid atmosphere about these things. I think we're ready for that. Although it's intimidating and it's a little bit scary. But what I was saying about aliens is as long as they've been observed, and this could go back to, biblical times, pre-biblical times, if you read certain accounts and you want to interpret that as an alien interaction rather than a spiritual interaction, Ezekiel and the Will, the Rig Veda, where they talk about the wars, of these flying airships. Those are all interesting accounts that could possibly be interpreted as aliens being here and interacting with human beings. But, that is another can of worms that you open up if they actually do exist, is you have to go back and reanalyze everything about faith and our religious structure and all of that. And if they brought us technology, it could supplant and really wreck our worldwide economy and the stability that exists within that economy. For instance, Nikola Tesla. And there was another guy, I can't remember his name, but he created a car that could be operated on water that would power the car. And his stuff disappeared, and he claimed that he was poisoned and he died. And I don't know if he's poisoned or if he had a heart attack, because there was a lot of stress and a lot of paranoia in his life. But long story short, you can imagine what a water-powered car would do to all the economies of the Middle East and economies that deal back and forth. So you have to be realistic about these things and understand, why certain technologies, if we do have them, they're not released to the public. Because there's a dangerous side effect to that, and it's not a side effect that you necessarily see coming. But when I think of aliens and their interactions so far, other than abductions, which are creepy, and I don't know if any of them are true, or if some of them are true, but when you think of the presence of craft and all of that, thus far, we have not had any kind of military invasion, any kind of disruption of our lives. They kind of come in, they kind of go out, they do their thing, they observe, they make repairs, they restock, whatever they're doing. They don't interfere. So I don't feel this immense fear towards whatever species people are claiming are manning these ships and have been here. Their interest in us doesn't communicate to me overlordship or invasion or anything of that sort. They've had plenty of time to do that, especially since all of these sightings since, the early 40s. So I'm kind of open to the idea